evening to all of you around the world. This is Natasha Aylott speaking from Radio W.O.R.K.S with the beautiful Marina Nani. And we're going to follow on from last week when we were talking about connecting with yourself, loving yourself, empowering yourself. And I'm super excited today to be sharing more of the secrets and the principles from my book, Get Blissed, which is all about your body and how amazing your body is and how it works, how you can nourish it, etc. So welcome to you all, you beautiful people from all around the world, wherever you are, on whatever time of day it is, whether you are in the clouds, whether you are in the trees, in the caves, in the desert, on the water, in a house, or outside in the open air, you are all very welcome.
Welcome, Natasha. I'm so excited to sharing this space with you right now and sharing with our listeners everything we learned. And, teaching is best way of learning. So I have to say this: at any moment, no matter when, no matter where you are, you have to find the power within and say to yourself, this is my time. I own it. I own my life. Over to you, Natasha.
Thank you so much. You are totally right. Yes, you need to learn to love yourself, your inner child, love your body. Let me ask you a question. Would you put orange juice in your car? No, of course not. So why do you put all these things into your body that don't serve it, don't nourish it? I was listening to Louise Hay the other day talking about bone broth. Now, I absolutely love bone broth. I keep all the peelings from all the vegetables, all the bones from all of the the meat that we have. I stick it in the freezer and then I slowly boil it with loads of water, really, really slowly, and then disregard everything that's in it except obviously the fluid, which is bone broth, because all of the marrow comes out of the bones and it nourishes our bodies. We give bones to our dogs full of marrow bone in the middle of the bone to nourish them, and we buy this for them specially, and yet we don't do the same for ourselves. Now, you might change your car. I love examples of cars. You might change your car every 12 months, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, and yet your beautiful, amazing body needs to last a lifetime. So everything you put into your body, whether it's what you drink or what you eat or what you put on your body in terms of lotions and potions, how you treat your body, the amount of sleep you get, the type of exercise you get, and what you think about your body are so important. And there are so many things that you can do that won't cost you anything at all that can absolutely maximize your body and make it work the best for you for a really, really long time, that can almost make you not get younger particularly, but slow down the aging process. There are so many tools, techniques, and tips that I can share with you to help you achieve that. So I hope that you are on board with wanting to make the very best of your body, whatever size and shape and height you are. The most important thing that really I can share with you and invite you to embrace this is you were born with the perfect eyes, the perfect hair, the perfect height, the perfect shape, and the perfect size for your lifetime right now. And if you feel, for instance, that you're not happy about this and you'd like to change that because this is not perfect and that's not perfect, well, listen, there's not one single person on the face of this earth who couldn't agree with you, because when we look in the mirror, we find fault with ourselves. And yet, why do we do this? We are the way we are for a very good reason, because that's why we're meant to be this way. And actually, when you say to yourself, oh, I don't like my hair, I don't like my nose, I don't like my legs, I'm too tall, too short, too fat, too thin, whatever that is, what you're actually saying to your creator, whoever you think that might be, is you're saying, do you know what? You got me so wrong. You made me completely bad. You didn't do it right. You should have done it like this. You should have done it like that. So why would you do that? Isn't it so much easier rather than to try to change everything about you? Yes, enhance yourself, nourish yourself, nurture yourself, take care of yourself, be gentle with yourself and be kind with yourself, and stretch yourself to be the best you can be. But don't diss yourself.
You are so right, Natasha. I think people talk about, and usually tendency is to chase it till you get, till you drop, and then you think, oh, there is no happiness, there is no such thing. I chase it for 40 years, for 50 years, nothing. And I have nothing to show. But actually, the real of happiness is taking, paying attention to all the little tiny details of your daily life. And I'm so impressed with you, Natasha, because you got this amazing heart, and the way your mind works is just mind blowing. You live your life with energy, and you are so beautifully surrounded by beauty because you made that choice. And I know as a fact that yes, we all have a story we'll never tell, but I know you are willing and ready to share your story with us. Tell us your story, Natasha.
Oh, wow, thank you. Well, it's a far cry from the person that I am now. I was the first child to be born. I was the only daughter. I had three younger brothers. So I was the only niece, the only granddaughter, the only cousin. So you would think that I had a special place and that I would be spoiled, but no, absolutely not. No way, no how. I had to pave the way. I had a very beautiful, amazing mother. She still is amazing, but she's very much in the masculine, very academic, and this is where you had to work and this is what you had to do. Well, I was a complete failure as far as she was concerned, not particularly consciously in her eyes, more subconsciously, because I was never academic. And even though I worked so hard at everything, I mean, I do have a degree now, but it was blood, sweat, and tears to get me there. It wasn't an easy journey or an easy ride for me. And, it was so tough because that's not who I am. I am a very different person to that. And so when I was growing up, I used to blush. I was very spotty. I had greasy hair. I had hand-me-down clothes. I didn't make friends very easily. I wasn't heard. I wasn't noticed. The boys never noticed me until I was about 15. I think I had my first wolf whistle when I was 15, and that's like, ouch. That's really tough. I never got a Valentine's card until I was about 15 or 16. So for a girl, that's really, really tough. Thankfully, I was a late developer in that respect, even though my father used to say to me, "Oh, you were 5 years old when you were born." In my brain and my mind, I was more mature. But in terms of flourishing into a flower, a woman, a young woman, it was much, much later, and I just wasn't noticed. So for me, it was really hard. I didn't have very many friends. No boys looked at me. And I used to absolutely die of embarrassment every time I blushed, because it was when you're young, and you forget it when you get older, of course, because you become more immune to it. But when you blush, it's like everybody's looking at you, everybody's pointing the finger at you, everybody's laughing at you, everybody thinks that you're a clown or a joke, and you just want to die. You just want the ground to open up and for you to disappear into the hole so that nobody can see you. It's the most embarrassing feeling in the world. And yet, when you break through that and you say, you know what, which I did obviously have to do, I need to change all this. And so I remember for the very first time, I was in a meeting, actually, because I was working, and I had to do a presentation. And it was I had a paint stripping business, so I actually stripped doors and furniture. Believe it or not, I'd been a restaurant manager for a while, and then I'd come out of that, and I had to present to everybody else in this group about what I did. So I thought, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? So I got my hair nice and my face nice, and dressed up and had a jacket on and this, that, and the other. And I just thought, just put it all out there, girl, and who gives a damn? Because what's the worst that can happen if you blush? So I stood up, and most of the other people in this group of people that I was presenting to were guys, yeah, and I was the only girl. So I was in my 20s, mid-20s, and I stood up and I said, I want to talk about stripping. And as I said that, everybody's eyes looked at me, and I thought, I'm just going to go flat out. I started taking off my jacket provocatively, and their jaws were all dropping down onto their chest. And then I seriously, and I felt myself blush, and I thought, I just don't care. I'm just going to keep going, because nobody was noticing at that point that I was blushing. And then I just put my jacket on the back of my chair, and they were still looking at me, and I said, paint stripping. And it was like, oh. and I kind of just got over myself. And I just thought, okay, that's good. A, I was noticed. And B, they carried on listening to me when I put the shock in there and just started doing it. So I kind of just got over myself, really. And it's so important to do that, because, I was conscious that I had a big nose, I had huge hands, huge feet, small ankles, small wrists. And so, when I was at school, I was so conscious of everything. And because my mother didn't want me to grow up into like a pink, pretty, fluffy girl, she dressed me the same as the boys. She didn't bother with saying, you need to wash your hair, it's really greasy. So I was going to school looking like nothing else on earth, and I felt really ugly. But you've just got to make the most of it, haven't you? So then I started noticing myself a bit more, getting showered every day, started to wear a bit of makeup, got a bit more noticed, and then started to look at clothes that suited me and that I liked. And, went through the very bad fashion sense when you're young. And then slowly that evolved into something a little bit more real, a bit more acceptable, a little bit more, always a bit different. So I guess what I'm trying to share with you is that is my story. And I started to step into myself. I started to be who I was meant to be, and not who my mother wanted me to be or expected me to be or tried to encourage me to be, not what society expected me to be, and certainly not what the academic world would have liked me to be. Because I didn't fit in any of those boxes. And once I accepted that and said, you know what, I don't care. I don't want to be a sheep. I don't want to be another shade of beige. I don't want to be in the sea of sameness. I want to be the green fish in the red goldfish pond, or whatever it is. And then things just started to go really well for me. If that resonates with any of you, then never ever be shy or embarrassed about blushing or what you look like or anything else like that, because there is nobody quite like you, which means that you're brilliant.
So beautifully said. And you remember that old saying that be yourself, everybody else is taken.
Yes, Oscar Wilde, wasn't it? Oscar Wilde.
Yes.
Love it, absolutely.
Absolutely. So coming back to the wellness as a way of life, as wellness being a way of life instead of just a, academic concept. Would you say that the mixture, the cocktail, the entity you create your life is basically your body, your mind, and your spirit all together, and each one of these three parts of your existence create who you are. And it's very important what you think, because humans got this unique ability to decide on their thoughts and choose their thoughts. And of course, as a result of their choices, they will have different actions to different thoughts. But what is, I heard many times experts in the field saying that you have to align your actions with your values and with your who you are. But I think unless you draw into the mix not only your actions and your values and your beliefs, but mainly your emotions, you can't make progress. So unless you listen to your heart, you can try everything, but unless you are all in with your heart, because everything starts in your heart. You can't create the life you want. You'll always be inclined or otherwise guided into the wrong direction. So unless you realize the importance of creating your life on daily basis, and taking these little silly steps each day to understand who you are, what you want, what you need. So because we were talking about sugar recently, and it's a big topic, what is your opinion on how you create your day and how you start your day, controlling the outcome through what actions you take, how you exercise, how much water you drink, how much sugar you take? What is your view on this?
Well, I'm probably going to get shouted down by some people by saying this. Thank you. Yes, sugar is the devil for start. It is not good for you. We do not need sugar because there's so much sugar in vegetables and fruit, particularly. And on the subject of sugar, you can have honey, natural honey from, if you find within a 3 mile radius a beekeeper who will produce local honey for you, then there's nothing sweeter than honey that you can have. You don't need sugar at all. You can use honey in baking, you can use honey in your coffee and tea, have it on your breakfast cereal. And when it's a local honey from a local beekeeper within a 3 mile radius, it works as a natural antihistamine. So if you have hay fever, it's a fantastic remedy for you. Just 1 teaspoon a day. Have it in the morning where it's not going to sit on you and turn into fat throughout the night. And it's absolutely delicious. It's tasty. It's sweet. And we bake our own bread. My daughter, who's 10, bakes biscuits and cakes. Yes, she uses sometimes demerara sugar or molasses or honey, but she uses those things rather than like white sugar. So at least I know what's in the stuff that they have, because they've got to have treats. And kids particularly get so quickly addicted to sugar, and it's absolutely terrifying to see, because the the confectionery companies and the manufacturers of sweets and biscuits and cakes and so on and so forth, they're huge conglomerates with massive clout and huge authority and so much power. They actually don't care about the insides of your body at all. And did you know this? I'm going to really put it out here today, because cancer cannot live in the body where there is no sugar. So
Wow.
if anybody like has cancer, you do not want to have sugar. You keep off the sugar. Cut out sugar completely from your diet. Too much sugar gives you diabetes. It gives you heart disease. It leads to cancer. I mean, that is the end result. I'm not saying you have a teaspoon of sugar, you're going to get cancer tomorrow. No, but what I'm saying is empower yourself, educate yourself, question, challenge, and change everything that you hear about, sweets and cakes and biscuits, and say, no sugar in the body, cancer cannot survive. No negative thoughts in the body, cancer cannot survive. A proper oxygenated body, fully oxygenated body, cancer cannot survive. These are simple things that cost nothing to anybody, and yet we're not educated at school, we're not educated at home, we're not educated in the workplace with this knowledge. And bless the doctors, they are amazing, incredible people who, commit their whole entire lives to helping other people, but they spend less than half a day learning about nutrition. So when you go to the doctor, does the doctor first say to you, how are you sleeping and what are you eating and are you exercising? No, of course not. They go straight for the symptoms. So they're just putting a sticky plaster on it. They're not solving the real problem that's deep inside. So for me, in answer to your question, before I even open my eyes in the morning, when I first wake up, I just say thank you. And what I'm saying thank you for is the fact that I have another day to live. I have another day to experience what life has to offer. And my happiness doesn't come automatically. However, it is a conscious choice. I have chosen to be happy in my life. I have chosen to appreciate everything in my life. And I am very blessed because of these things. And I say thank you. If it's a sunny day, thank you for the blue sky. You know, it's warming the earth. It's giving us the vitamins that we need. It helps the flowers grow. It's beautiful. It feels lovely and sunny and cheers us all up. If it's raining, I'm like, thank you for the rain. It cleanses us. It cleans us. We drink clean water. You know, and if it's windy, thank you for the wind blowing all the leaves off the trees so that, you know, it's clearing everything away and blowing the grey clouds away, or whatever it is. So I'll give thanks in the morning for 5 things, 10 things, whatever I can think of. And then I get out of bed feeling energized, feeling positive and excited about my day. And then for me, I have 2 glasses of water. I have my habits with water are this. I have 2 glasses of water, very first thing. And filtered water obviously is the best. So you can either have a machine that filters the water, or if you want to go to the expense of having the whole house done, you can literally have all the water that's filtered automatically, so that you shower in filtered water, you drink filtered water, you wash in filtered water. For me, I just use a filter. So 2 glasses of water before I do anything else. And then I either go for a run or a walk, not a long run, just 3 miles in the countryside. And it's so empowering, so reconnecting with nature, so grounding. And it clears out all the negative tensions that have built up the day before or in the evening or whatever. And then I have another 2 glasses of water actually when I get back, but you don't have to do that too much. And then I have my breakfast, which is simply almond milk, because you can, I mean, I happen to buy it. I should really make it, but I happen to buy it. You can make it easily from crushed almonds and water. I do buy it because at the moment my time doesn't really allow me to do that. And I literally have oats and nuts and seeds, and then fresh berries, whatever I can get hold of, grapes, blueberries, black currants, raspberries, strawberries, anything, apples. And then I just have that for my breakfast, and it fills me up because oats are slow releasing energy, and there's so much sugar in all of that. The best time to have anything with sugar, like fresh fruit, is first thing in the morning. It gives you a massive kickstart for the day. It energizes you for the entire day. And then I have at least a glass of water before every meal and 2 glasses of water at night. I try to eat as much raw stuff as I can. I'm not a massive raw food person, but what I do is I have loads of salad. You know, when we can grow it in the garden, then I grow it in the garden or the greenhouse. A cut and come again salad, so you just cut it, you eat it, and then it grows back, and it's wonderful. Or get organic stuff from, you know, your local farmer's market or your farmer's stand or a good supermarket. Then lots of healthy things. So I don't tend to have cheese. I don't tend to have dairy stuff. I don't eat anything processed. Occasionally I might have some Twiglets or something like that, but very rarely. And then maybe a sandwich for lunch, maybe a salad, maybe some couscous, something like that, maybe some pasta, and then fish or chicken or something for tea with loads of vegetables. And then I don't tend to drink very much alcohol. I drink fresh juice, but not concentrated juice. And then at night time, and this is just really, really simple because you can play on all of these things. At night time, avoid anything sweet, and that will look after your body perfectly. And I'm thinking positive things all day long, and I'm nourishing and nurturing my body. And I also try to alkaline my body, because an alkaline body, again, cancer cannot live in an alkaline body. So each food you eat is left in your stomach with an alkaline ash or an acid ash. Now, you don't want any more than 20% acid ash, and you want a minimum of 80% alkaline ash, because an alkaline body will work better. Your immune system will be built better. It will be much more powerful, much stronger. Positive thoughts added into the mix make it even more resistant to any bad bugs that come around. And you can get loads of juices for alkalining your body quite easily. I just get a big bottle of like alkaline stuff, and chlorophyll, I think it is, and I think it's a teaspoon in a glass of water twice a day, and then I just drink that down, and it helps to alkaline my body. And so you can just take these little simple things, and easily do it. Anybody can do these things. And then things like raw cauliflower, raw broccoli, raw mange tout, raw green beans, and you can get those organic and just put them in salads and make the most delicious, gorgeous salads. You can put seeds in, you can put nuts in, you can put dried fruit in if you want. You can cut up apples and put them in, have a bit of lemon juice, a little bit of olive oil. Tip with meat, I don't have pork, I don't have beef because it's classed as old meat. Anything that's been messed around with, like even chickens, if you can get free range chickens, even better, because they're not pumped full of all of these antibiotics and everything. But the other thing is have game. So rabbit and pheasant and duck, those sorts of things, you can't necessarily control the environment they're in, and so they're less likely to be pumped full of chemicals and antibiotics.
Wow.
So hopefully that will help.
Yes, no, it's no, I'm just amazed by what you shared. You know, the scientific fact that um, um, a sugar-free body kills cancer.
Sugar-free, fully oxygenated and alkaline body, absolutely.
Just amazing. And of course, well-being is not just a random phenomenon. You know, it's like we said, depends on so many factors, and starts with genetics. You can't fight that. You know, you are born that way, but even so, there are many factors which contributes to the level of well-being you choose to have in your life. And starting with you know, choosing your you know, breakfast, to your environment, the people you are with, and how they influence your choices and your lifestyle choices. And I thought about in the last couple of years, while I was traveling the world, and I met so many different type of cultures, that actually the secret of living your life with purpose is not nothing else but creating better life choices. So once you discover these better life choices, you have a duty to share them. And this is basically what you are doing, and clearly sharing scientific truths which are known and verifiable, could convince even the most stubborn people out there thinking, oh, what well-being. But it's very impactful what you said, because raise some self-questions, you know, when it comes, let's say, simple facts like an apple a day keeps the doctor away. So of course, we what we are doing here is sharing these better life choices so other people can create for themselves. No one is going to create your life choices. You have to create your own life choices. In any case, why would you go to the doctor? Why not work on your well-being and make the right choices, create better life choices, and never need to go to the doctor? Because the doctor is going to try to fix, to put a bandage to a wound, or, you know, is going to work temporarily. But what you really have to understand is your choice, is how you live your life. And all these small things like being aware that an apple a day keeps the doctor away is nothing new under the sun. I read somewhere that this proverb, it's part of an old collection on the 16th century that belongs to John Ray. And then I read other opinions that back to 2000 years back in Rome, it was a well-known scientific truth. So I know we are in 21st century, and we are overwhelmed by crashing demands made on us by life, society, family, friends, and it's very hard to stick to a routine, and it's very hard to make better choices because of the pressure we get from external demands. However, if you build yourself up, if you create your own powerful rules and you stick to it, nothing can weaken you. Nothing can take your strength away. So your strength could be your daily little habits, good healthy habits like running for 3 miles or for 3 minutes is not relevant. It's just sticking to that mindset that you control your life. You create your better life choices. There's nobody else in charge. You can't blame anyone. So starting with eating an apple to keep the doctor away, because that apple is a great source of soluble fiber and antioxidants and pectin and immune boosting vitamin C, and it is so much that it's within a simple apple. And there were studies which I read, and I'm passionate about reading those statistics and studies issued by different scientific research centers. And it was a study recently that actually shows that apples lower the blood levels of the bad cholesterol, which is inflammates and damage the tissue. So for a healthy life, if you eat an apple a day and you eat no sugar, you keep the doctor away. so so it's not very much what I'm saying, and I'm not an expert by all means, but I really believe that you yourself create better life choices. Over to you, Natasha.
Yes, absolutely, Marina. I totally agree. And what? Thank you for everything that you shared there. I was it kind of got my juices flowing my mind when you were speaking. And I think ultimately it's the responsibility for each and every one of us to take 100% responsibility for all our actions and our whole lives. And once you, like you say, you have a new mindset, you have your new daily habits. So these are my standards. So what you're saying is, and what I do, these are your standards. So you have higher standards. So rather than eat junk food, you honor your body, you're taking full responsibility for your life and your body. So your standards are set higher now. So you're going to have fruit instead of sweets and biscuits and cakes. The second thing I wanted to share was about your body. Socrates. Now, Socrates was alive thousands and thousands of years ago, and he said, even then, which is what we must remind ourselves of today, let thy food be thy medicine, and let thy medicine be thy food. Because each and every one of us has a pharmacy in our own body. And when we nourish our body and we replace all the vitamins and minerals that our body desperately needs, then we can function at a much higher level and a much better level. And did you know that if you eat rubbish all the time, junk food all the time, you'll still be able to get up, you'll still be able to walk, you'll still look the same. But what actually happens is when the different organs in your body don't get from your food what they need to make them grow and develop and survive, that what happens is those organs in your body actually take from the marrow in your bones what they do need. And hence why that's when you lead to things like osteoporosis and other bone disorders and like arthritis, those sorts of things, the whole family of nasties, because your body has not been completely nourished, and your organs have taken what they've needed from other parts of your body unbeknown to you, because they just get on with it and do it. And whatever you feed your body digests your food, your heart continues to pump your blood around your body, your brain continues to work, your muscles continue to work, and your skin continues to cover the whole of your body. So when you're giving your body what it does need, and when you understand what food each part of your body has to have to survive and flourish, then you can literally, love your body. Otherwise, what will happen is it'll be like a crinkled piece of paper that's completely dried out. And what you need to do is moisten it and love it and condition it and nurture it. And so when you're eating the right foods, the foods become your medicine in your body, and your body becomes much healthier because it all works together properly. And I don't know whether you've heard of this about genetics. I wanted to share some information with you that I found out and discovered about 3 years ago, fascinating me, because we have more power than we thought. And there is a story that was shared by Dr. Bruce Lipton, because he was a scientist. He did work on genetics. He was in the biology department. He did work on genetics, and he has challenged the way the genes work, because they don't actually have the brain or the nucleus that we thought. Hence why, when you say, oh, it's genetic. And he challenged that and discovered that that wasn't necessarily the case. And he came up with this story. So I'll just share his story, if I may, quickly. There was a young girl who was adopted. Now, her blood family, her natural family, there was no history whatsoever of breast cancer. She was adopted at a very young age into another family, and that family she was adopted into had history of breast cancer, the mother, the grandmother, and a few other people in the family. Now, this adopted girl went on to develop breast cancer when she had no hereditary link to breast cancer at all. So that's another really interesting sort of inquiry, if you like, that says, do you know what? It may not necessarily be hereditary, it's more environment. And that blew me away. So if anybody's interested in that, they can go, people who have inquiring minds, scientific minds, they want the data, they want the proof, that's fine. You can go away and research that epigenetics for yourself. And if you're interested in the sugar topic that we were speaking about a little earlier today, then you can go away and do lots of research. There's a guy called David Avocado Wolf. Dr. David Avocado Wolf, amazing, interesting guy. So much research he's done about sugar and eating well, and what the foods do to your body, and so on and so forth. So again, do your own research online. Really easy to get information, and have the passion for a healthy life. Have the energy to put into things, because 10 years ago, I had no energy. My body didn't look the way I wanted it to look. I wasn't ready for it to look the way it did look. And I thought, I'm not, if this is middle age, this is a bit early for me, and I'm not ready for this. And so I started exercising and being much more mindful of what I was eating. And so I've always been healthy with my food, and I wanted to change the mindset. So I looked at loads of research on that. I started swimming again. I hadn't swum for nearly 20 years. I started cycling again. I hadn't cycled for 20 years. And I started running. And I started running about 3 years ago, 2.5, 3 years ago. And I had never run in my life. And I just thought, oh my gosh, this is going to kill me. I'm not going to be good at this. But slowly and gradually, I've started doing it. Now my body looks better than it did 10 years ago. And my energy levels are higher than they were 10 years ago, almost as good as they were 20 years ago. And so just by making slight changes, changing your habits, your routines, to just incorporate a little bit. I got up half an hour early so I could go for a half-hour run. It's just 3 miles. It's no big deal. And, it's made a huge difference in my life. And did you know this? This is a little tip about sleep. When you have 8 hours sleep as opposed to 7 hours sleep, your ability to be successful in exam conditions, so in other words, when you're taking an exam and you've had 8 hours sleep as opposed to 7 hours sleep, is more than, you're actually producing more than 30% better response in that exam. You're actually performing better. So students like me at the time had Pro Plus and coffee and goodness knows whatever else when we were in our teens, which wasn't good for us, but we would kind of cram things in to do the exams. What we should have done is just gone to bed a couple of hours early and get a good night's sleep. I didn't know that back then. So that's a little tip that you can share with everybody. And also, just the last point I wanted to make about sleep is, did you know that when you sleep, you actually lose weight? So you can go to sleep for that extra hour and you're going to lose more weight just by sleeping. How cool is that? No effort required.
Fabulous.
I love that one.
You made my day. Beautiful. So, Natasha, tell me, yes, well-being, and yes to better life choices. What is the impact of your emotional well-being?
You become so much more resilient. so much more in tune with who you are, and your self-esteem and your self-confidence. It sort of just evolves without you even realizing it. You sort of become more confident. For me, I was terrified of speaking on stage. I was terrified of um, doing videos. And so I kind of just said to myself, let's just try it. There's your iPhone, press record, turn the camera around, start talking. Because each and every one of us talks to our friends and our family without being worried about it. So what is the difference? And yet, one of the biggest fears the world over is by standing on stage and talking to somebody. People are terrified because they are fearful. And yet, fear is the opposite of love. And the two cannot coexist. And so, if you are living from a point of fear, you cannot do things, it holds you back. And yet, if you're coming from a point of love, love conquers everything. Love conquers all, and love solves all of the problems. So when I started doing the videos, when I first stood on stage and practiced, it wasn't actually on a real stage. I literally videoed myself talking to the cushions on the sofa. And then I looked back on it and did it again, did it again, did it again, critiqued it, and just carried on continuing. And that's what I did to get out of my own way. So you just have to believe in yourself, have faith in yourself, know that you're doing the very best you can at this exact moment in time, and realizing that what's the worst thing that can happen? The worst thing that can happen is somebody might laugh, or somebody might not like what you say, and yet you can pick up and start again. Nothing is so bad that you can't try again or start afresh. And yet we fill ourselves with fear, and fear holds us back. And fear comes from the point of ego. And it's the ego that stops us being and living the most beautiful and amazing life, because it's jealous, it's hatred, it's fear, it's all these negative things. So I would urge you to just try and take on different daily habits, have a positive mindset, and take it from there. And of course, I teach all these things at my workshops, discuss all these things when they're relevant with my private clients and work through them. But you're very welcome to try any of these things yourself and see how it goes. So I hope that that has helped you. So hopefully that has all helped your listeners.